welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every other week actually we get together and talk about video games, make each other laugh. As always, I'm Shanae Howard. With me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson.
I look like I've been crying.
Because you have been
I
crying, so I'm
like
hilarious.
I look like I'm post breakup. I look like I've been crying.
Did you get a divorce?
No, I don't think so.
I hope not.
Yeah,
She's awesome.
sure.
But yeah, guys, what have y'all been playing? What you been doing?
So I finished Arkham City and started Arkham Origins, but I haven't played very much of it. I'm playing this game called Vomitorium that's pretty cool.
That's a cool ass name.
Yeah, and it's like a FPS Metroidvania, but more emphasis on the Metroidvania than FPS. Like it's a first-person shooter, sure, but it's more Metroid than Metroid Prime is, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, and that's pretty fun. And then I played the Back for Blood beta for a long time, and that's shaping up to be pretty cool.
Nice. Tom, can you tell me more about Vomitorium? Because the name has me very curious.
I mean, the story's real vague so far. I got taken on the titular Vomitorium, which I guess is some sort of weird ship thing. And the imagery is real fucking weird. Like, the art for it's real strange.
Did they explain why it's called the Vomitorium?
I mean, Vomitorium is like a thing. It's some mythological thing. I don't know exactly from what, though.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, story-wise, I have no idea what's going on. I
Is
don't
it
know.
where all the vomit goes when you flush it down the toilet?
Yeah, it's like the planetarium,
Oh.
but it's the vomitorium. But yeah,
You can see
that's
anybody
pretty
throwing
neat.
up at any moment. You just lay in the IMAX seats and just watch it.
There's no vomit yet,
Sure.
nor do I
That's
think that there will
disappointing.
be.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
So is combat like similar to Metroid Prime or?
No, combat's like old Doom,
I see.
but there's a lot less of it. Like there's things to kill, but not a lot. At least not so far.
Yeah.
You know.
So is it like more emphasis on exploration then?
So far, for sure. But like I said, it's very Metroid, just an expanding map as you get more and more items and all that. You know.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. I don't know how long I'll play it for, but so far it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Back for Blood's good. Excited for that one. And I've been playing through the Injustice 2 story, which I've started like 4 or 5 fucking times, but just never commit to just sitting down and playing through it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm halfway through because I just got a trophy for being halfway through the story.
Sure. The good indicator.
And so far it's pretty cool. Like the story is certainly better than the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
It's got Brainiac in it.
Yeah, and whoever does the character design did a really cool work, really good job. Brainiac looks fucking awesome, you know? But I don't know. We'll see.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I watched the new Suicide Squad, and
I did too.
I was reading some threads on Reddit, and one of them saying was Calendar Man's in one of the Injustices.
Be in one of the books. Like the Injustice
Okay.
comics have been going on for fucking ever now, you know?
That is true. I am
So
aware of that.
Tom Taylor started writing those after the first game. And the first story arc is the first game, right? But that series got so big, they just call that Injustice Year 1 now.
Yeah.
And I think the comics are on year 5 now or something like that. They've been going for a long time.
I think I have Injustice Year One as a book.
Yeah.
No, it just since you said you've been playing it, I didn't know if it was in the games or the comics or what.
I would assume it's in the comics. I don't remember him being in the first game. Now, I'm only halfway through the second game, so maybe he shows up here, but he hasn't yet.
I guess whatever. It's nerd stuff.
Yeah.
I thought the new Suicide Squad was much improvement. I enjoyed my time watching it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was okay. Uh,
Is Jared Leto
like,
there?
no.
No.
Like, I didn't think that the first one was as bad as people said that it was, and I don't think that this one is as good as people are saying it is. Like, I think they're both just okay, you know? What
All
do you
right.
say today?
What? All right. I'm just gonna go on this small tangent. So, like, one of my main issues with the first one is there's
Jared Leto.
absolutely there's I mean, yes, but it's just like there's absolutely no reason that the Suicide Squad needed to be the one that took down Enchantress. Like, there's nothing about it that's sketchy. There's nothing about it, like, not truly. There's no real reason, like, any of the big ones couldn't have, like, taken that on. Not only that, the writing was really clunky, the pacing was bad. I and I don't know. I think that like some of the things that like a reason why the our DC universe, like our cinematic universe, doesn't click with people as much is because like Marvel knows the shit they're doing is ridiculous and like leans into it, but DC tries to be so serious with it. But it's like you have a guy dressed as a bat, like
But
you
wouldn't you
can't.
rather that than them just do the exact same thing Marvel's doing? We already have like 40 of those movies, you know? Do we really need more?
Yeah, I mean they're better. I just I don't think I don't I I don't like it when it's like so serious when it's just like you, you're wearing a cape. Can't be that serious. I don't know,
I
man.
don't know.
I
If
just
someone's serious all the time, it's probably Batman.
I guess, but in the movie itself, like you could like I mean I love the Christopher Nolan films. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't consider them part of the DC cinematic universe as like a collective whole. But I don't know. Even like Zack Snyder like remake of Justice League, I was still like meh on it.
Agreed.
I had much more fun watching this new Suicide Squad movie than I've had watching a lot of the DC movies. And maybe it's because I do read more DC comics than Marvel comics. So I know the characters better, so I have some sort of attachment. So whenever they do like stupid shit or I'm just like, that person's a lot cooler than you're making them out to be, and like I'm mad at them for that.
But I
Like
mean, on what continuity though, right? Like, there's so many people that have written these characters and have done so many various things with these characters that, like, I just like when it's something I don't like, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's an Elseworlds thing. It's that over there. Who cares, you know?
but I really all right, so the main one I'm thinking about is Mira from Aquaman. I really think she's badass. I think she's super cool in a lot of stories.
And you love
And
the accent.
no. And I just like didn't enjoy anything they did with her in the Aquaman movie. Jason Momoa was fine. I didn't really give a shit about him. But
Yeah.
like I don't know. Like some people like have always like shit on Aquaman and like he's seen as a joke in a lot of the cartoons and stuff, which is what people really know him besides like obviously people who read the comic books. But there's like a lot of really cool shit with Atlantis. And there's like a lot of like fun storylines that I really like.
I think all the
And
Atlanta stuff is pretty cool. I don't think Arthur Curry ever makes it cool.
but he's not like but he's not like always like a jokester or like the butt of the joke that like a lot of the cartoons make him out to be.
Sure.
And like a lot of times he's like the comic relief when the Flash isn't around. And I don't know, man. I just granted, even then, like I said, I didn't give a shit about Aquaman or Arthur Curry, but like all the Atlantis stuff, I think is fucking dope.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was just hoping the movie would like make Atlanta cool again.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I just don't want more of what Marvel's doing, you know? Like, even if the DC movies aren't as good, that's fine. You know, because I don't think the Marvel movies are particularly good. But
I don't know. I've never like ranked them before because
yeah,
after I watched Black Widow, my friend asked me like like where would I rank Black Widow among all
sure.
MCU movies. So I wrote an entire list and like numbered them and everything. But by the way, Black Widow is 13 out of 24. in my opinion. But like, I mean, at the top of my list are the more serious ones. Like, I know it's not Civil War. I've read the comics multiple times. That's funny. Uh, I've read the Civil War stuff, but I will say that Civil War is one of my favorite Marvel movie. Is my favorite Marvel movie. I realized.
You think so?
My ranking system was based off the first time I watched it, rewatch ability, how much I like it, and then also how cohesive I think the movie itself was.
Yeah.
And those are my rankings.
My favorite Marvel movie is Punisher Warzone.
I was doing just MCU.
Good choice.
That movie's badass, man.
Dude,
Dude,
you know what?
You know what I meant.
Why do they pick and choose though, right? Because that movie came out after the MCU began.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, that one doesn't count.
Yeah, and like, has anyone in any of those Marvel Cinematic Universe movies done anything as cool as the Punisher hanging off of a chandelier upside down and spinning around while firing submachine guns? No. Has anyone done anything as cool as the Punisher taking out a rocket launcher and shooting a guy doing backflips out of the air with it? No. Okay? So don't talk to me about cool Marvel movies.
Star by like basically running in like a giant hamster wheel. So that's cool. I also really like
Punisher puts him in the ground, man.
I haven't seen that Punisher movie, but Okoye and the Veer Milage, like, but specifically like Okoye and the Black Panther movie when they're fighting in South Korea, like that movie. I think I said it on the podcast before. That particular point in the movie literally made me gasp because it was just so beautiful. Like the way that her dress moved, the entire fight sequence, loved it.
Yeah.
Black Panther's number 2.
Also, Frank Castle punched a guy so hard that his fist went through his head and into the wall, and the guy's head exploded. So that was cool
that
too.
would happen, you know?
Yeah.
See, you don't like Borderlands. That's some Borderlands shit if I ever heard it.
Also, number one, I've recanted my stance on Borderlands. I love Borderlands. I've said it many times.
That was more directed towards
second.
I love this Punisher movie.
Yeah.
I do agree it was more entertaining than most of the MCU.
And
you know, and I do find it weird that like it came out while the MCU was happening, but they're like, no, not that one.
He went to a party of rich people and went around the table snapping their necks. Yeah. And he was equal opportunity about it. There was this rich old lady, and she was like, what the hell's the Punisher doing here? He just grabbed her like, crit.
Did he kill children?
Oh, no, there were no children there. I think it was kind of more of an eyes wide shut party.
You can't say that, Ferguson.
Well, it's everybody who applied, man. They all applied to get killed by the Punisher, and all those applications got processed. You know what I mean?
Do you think the Punisher goes down?
No, heroes don't do that.
No, in fact, I'm certain that
he's not DC though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Punisher goes down then.
Yeah, he's very generous with the justice and the lingus. So
yeah.
What have you been playing, Ryan?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Shanae. That's a great question. So I've been playing Yakuza 6, and
that tracks.
Yeah, I love it. There's more stuff with Kiryu being an awesome fighting granddad, and that's a lot of fun to watch. There's a mini game at one point because so you got your grandbaby, right? It's late at night, and you're like, this grandbaby needs some milk, but all the stores are closed. But the grandbaby's fussy, so sometimes you got to stop and you got to comfort him. There's a little mini game that pops up for you to do that, and it's real cute. Yeah, I've been.
I take care of babies in my games.
Yeah,
I didn't play that Babysitting Mama game for a reason.
Yeah, sure, but also, it's funny because like the last time I got to play a Yakuza game that used the Dragon engine was Yakuza Kiwami 2. And so since I was playing them in order, I had to go through a few more games before I got back to Yakuza 6. And so Yakuza 6 feels like super weird to me now because of all those I played all those PS3 games first.
Yep.
But it's still a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. And what's funny is that I've done like a lot of stuff and I'm still like in chapter 1 of the game, I think. Like I've done like at least 40 hours of stuff, I think, but I'm still in chapter 1. So, but I'm trying to max out like I'm trying to like finish a bunch of side stuff, some mini games. Like there's one side story where I'm the captain of a baseball team, and I'm trying to help them form a team, get more players on the team to like beat these jerks on another team. So I've been doing that. And then there's another side quest where I'm kind of the boss of this street gang who is fighting another street gang, and so I'm trying to I'm recruiting members for that as well. And it's kind of it's not real. I guess it's kind of an RTS style kind of mini game where you have your gang members and you're kind of putting them all over like this little area and like trying to place them strategically to counter the other gang's advancement. So that's been pretty cool. I have also gotten back into Warframe again, and every time I come back to that game, there's a shitload more stuff to do. But I did actually start engaging finally with like actual storylines and doing quests. Like I just did a storyline where I have to free these like weird cyborg robot people from these weird, like this weird space corporation who's trying to harvest their parts and stuff.
Don't call them weird. They don't appreciate that.
Sure, because they can hear me. And then I've kind of been focusing a lot more on like doing the crafting stuff. The thing about Warframe and it being a free to play game, I think a lot of the crafting is very, very grind heavy. And like a lot of the materials are like kind of hard to find. So there's like kind of a little, they don't outwardly like actively encourage you to buy stuff, but you know,
it's heavily suggested.
It's kind of is because you can craft most everything from warframes to weapons to like accessories and stuff, and the warframes are like the hardest thing to farm out. So you know, there are a couple of times one time I actually was able to craft one, but I've bought a couple as well. But I'm having a good time, so I don't really mind. I joined a clan in that game just because like there's some crafting stuff that's like locked behind clan progression, but like
that's clan. I
did join them like without the intent of like actively engaging them, and like but they were like, well, if you want access to the clan research stuff, then you've got to join the Discord, okay? And then so I was like, okay. So I was like, I'll join the Discord and just mute it, right? But I joined the Discord and I open it and they're like, okay, so we got a clan meeting next week, blah blah. I was like, I'm not going to a fucking clan meeting, dude. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, that better not be mandatory because you guys might as well kick me out right now. I'm not going to any fucking clan meeting. But
I would never.
Yeah, but like I did, like one of the guys in the Discord like who held the meeting, like he's like, I posted the video on YouTube for anybody who couldn't make it. So I skimmed through this hour-long video of like just a bunch of shit, and like I stopped on a part where like, all right, and the fashion show next week is going to be judged by this guy. I was like, wow, okay, but I'm not going to any meetings.
I mean, I think good for them if they're having that much fun with it.
Yeah, but like, well, no, I'm not saying that like don't have meetings and don't do that. I'm just saying I'm not going to the meetings. Like,
yeah, neither would I.
But so far it's been like pretty chill. Like I'll pop online and say hello to everyone, and then I will just kind of just be doing my own thing for the rest of my play session. Let's see. Also, I had Kayla and I played some Destruction All-Stars the other night, and when I first played that game, I bounced off of it really, really hard because like I just didn't feel like there was much to it. And
you and everyone else.
Yeah, but it's fun because like now, like it's fun to play with someone that I know because like I'm talking to them and like we can kind of talk shit to each other, and it's more fun that way. So she and I had pretty decent time with it the other night, and surprisingly, like it didn't take too long to get into a match, even though I know even like I know that they've started supplementing matches with bots, so I'm sure that had something to do with it. But overall, like I've actually, I have a good time as long as I'm playing with someone that I know. But and besides that, I played some more Red Dead Online to do their new event. That's been going really good. And also,
how's Arthur?
Arthur's well, I don't want to I like I Arthur's fine. Arthur's just fine.
He's having a grand old time.
He's having a great time. He's having a great
enjoying his life.
He's having a great cowboy time, doing cowboy things. He's fine. But also, guys, the other night, I'm working on this. I've been working on this video game project for the last month or so, and the other night I was struggling with setting up the collision properly, and I didn't realize how meticulous you have to be with making sure collision is set up properly. But it's a very painstaking process.
Would you say it's medium, bitch?
It is. It wasn't actually. It wasn't medium. Well, actually, you know what? It kind of was, because here's the thing. So, like, okay. So when you're in this interface, you have like a visual representation of what the collision looks like, right? Or like where the collision ends, right? And so like I'm doing these little minute adjustments to try to get it right, and at some point, something happened that knocked it off by just a little bit, but I didn't realize what had happened. So I'm going through for like 2.5 hours trying to figure out like where it went wrong, because it's not working properly anymore. I'm checking all my code to make sure it's right. I'm going back into the editor to make sure that's right, and then
he checked the code, sir.
I did. I checked it. And I backtraced it.
Oh man!
And
some pro hacker moves.
Yeah, I had to hack myself to figure out where the problem was. I hacked myself, but I got it working, and I'm really proud of myself. It's an achievement for me that I wanted to share with you guys.
I'm proud of you too.
Because, I'm proud of you. I have done a lot of work so far, and I'm really proud of it, and I wanted to share that. So that's part of what I did, what I've been doing this week.
So I've been reading a lot because depression has made it really hard to do really much anything more than that.
And you hurt you hurt your thumbs, so you couldn't play games. You hurt your thumbs. You bruised the meat, the thumb meat.
I bruised my thumb meat making IKEA chairs.
Yeah.
Man, I'm a pansy. No, but I finally finished my 6th playthrough of Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Shanae, how many times are you gonna play that game?
Too many.
How many times?
I mean, that's already.
Here's the thing, right? When the Shadow of the Colossus remake came out, I played that thing like probably 20 times in the first couple of weeks.
Sure.
But that's a short game.
Yeah, you're playing.
Fire Emblem Three Houses is like, that's a long game.
So I told you, I deleted some saves, and I accidentally deleted a bunch of things that I was really proud that I did. So I had to redo those,
Sure, in case anybody ever asks you for proof.
Yeah, because we need to, you need to be able to show us that you did it. Otherwise, it didn't happen, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Sure.
And then, so one of Berto's old friends, he's both of our friends, but that used to be really one of the better Super Smash Brothers players. Whenever we would all hang out with that friend group, him and Berto and a couple, one or two other people were really good, and they're the ones that play a lot of the fighting games. But he came over this past weekend. And so I have been playing Smash on and off, and I've actually been trying to get good at it. And it was really nice. It was me, Berto, and him, and it was really nice because I had something to measure from last time we all played together to now, and seeing the difference in the play was really rewarding, and I felt really good about it.
Yeah, that does feel good.
I mean, there's still much better than I will ever be, but like one of the rounds, I wasn't the first one to die,
Sure.
and that's improvement.
That is an improvement. You done good, Shanae. Who
I
was your
also think-
character? Was it a Fire Emblem character? Of course it was.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I play either Byleth or Bayonetta because apparently I like bees.
As Bayonetta and Fire Emblem?
Yes.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That Harry Potter Fire Emblem school would not know what to get. Like,
Sure.
she would fucking wreck shop. Just guns in general.
Yeah.
Wreck shop.
Yeah.
But I've also been replaying a lot of Otome games, and I don't know. Like, I know it's not our main topic, and I'll get to that a little bit. But just like another small tangent. So with me, I've been reading a series that it's been a while since I read, and then there's now a sequel. It's a trilogy, and then now there's a sequel trilogy, and the last book of the sequel trilogy isn't out yet. And I have yet to read the second book of the sequel or finish the first one. So I reread the original trilogy, and then started reading the sequel trilogy, and I got to where they are right now, the books, and I realized, like, I don't know if it's because replayability is different with games. Like, obviously with Fire Emblem, I replay it over and over again. Like, I do something different each time, and I have new goals with it. But I just, like, not really often do I get the feeling that I get when I finish, like, a book series. Like with book series, I'm like, I want more of this universe. And that's normally why I go to fan fiction. And the fan fiction I go to is normally world expanding, like not really related to the main plot, but like still in that same universe. Because like I don't want to read.
I've always thought that fan fiction that used like side characters as opposed to the main characters was more interesting.
Yeah, like I don't want to read somebody pretending that they're Naruto and like redo the whole story, but them as Naruto. Like I don't want that. Like I want. Like I said, like the Harry Potter fan fiction I read, I like reading about the founders. I like reading about stuff that's just like kind of mentioned, like other countries' schools, or like just things that aren't like fleshed out, where people can really go creative with it and not like, I don't know. I just find that more interesting than any other fan fiction. Yeah. And I guess it's because of replayability. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Like I know y'all have read books. And I know you'll play video games. And I
read a tremendous amount of books. I think it's the kind of games that you're playing. Not even the kind of games that you're playing, just the specific games that you're playing. Right? I think there are games that lend themselves very much to that, and series that lend themselves very much to that. Fire Emblem's just not one of them.
Yeah. Like I think that whether.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you're talking about like expanded stuff, right? Like more stuff.
No, I'm asking. I'm talking about the feeling I get. Like whenever, like all right, like Persona 5. Like we both felt it. Like I want more Persona 5.
Right.
But like it's still not the same.
I miss them.
Depth. I know. It's still not the same depth that I feel when I finish a book, and I want more of that book. And I think maybe because. I don't know. I think it's because I can replay that game if I really wanted to and play it differently and still enjoy it. I don't know what it is, but I feel like way more of a loss when I finish a book series or I'm reading a series that's not finished and I'm like, I want more of this.
I don't read a lot of series. Like outside of comics, I don't read a lot of like continuing novels, But I don't know. I guess I don't really get that with novels. Like, I'm very much a person who follows the creator over the content most of the time. So, like, I'll just read some of their other works, and that'll typically satisfy me. Or play some of their other games, That's just me, though.
Fair. No, that's fair.
So
that's definitely different. Like, I go for content and story with games and books.
Yeah.
So, at the end of it, I'm just like, I want more of this universe.
So I've been reading
more of it.
I've been reading the Expanse novels, and
Oh, have you? Yeah, nice. The series is great if you've not watched it.
So I don't want to watch the show because I want to I want to watch the show, but I want to wait until I'm done with.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying, like I
did watch the first episode.
The Expanse does space the way I wish more series did space.
Yeah.
Like, as far as the gravity goes, how battles would go,
Yeah.
things like that. Like, I really enjoy the Expanse. I haven't read the books, but I imagine that they are also fantastic when it comes to space stuff, and I love space stuff.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't read the books.
There's a lot of there's a lot of reading the Expanse is them kind of describing, like, for example, like a lot of the time they'll describe what a character is feeling or experiencing, like when they're going, like when the ship is going like a certain speed in space. Like they'll talk about like how it's hard to lift their arms, or like it's hard for them to talk and stuff like that. They'll go through that. But the thing about the Expanse is that there are a lot of ups and downs in the books. And when I finished the second book, I guess it's because I'm still in the middle of the story, right? So like I'm excited to get to the next book, but for as much as I enjoy these books, I can't imagine myself going, like, at the end of the 8 books, I can't imagine going through and reading all 8 books again, right? Now with video games, I think it's a little bit different. And I think I've mentioned before that
You finish all the Yakuza games, you're gonna replay them all.
I don't know that I'm not sure that I will. I mean, it's a possibility. It is a possibility because I genuinely enjoy like the moment to moment feel of those games. I do enjoy like being in that world, but it's kind of different for me, right? Because I'm directly interacting with it as opposed to being like a passive observer, like through a book or in a movie. And I think that's well, and like, yes, there are movies that I do rewatch, but you know, that's less of a that's like a couple hours of my time versus however long it takes to go through a series of books again, right?
I also think that because of the nature of what games are, that they need to have some sort of conclusion to them. Like, and other books don't need a conclusion.
Yeah.
But because video games, I mean, I don't want to say that they're not as up to interpretation as books are. I don't really know how to describe it because I don't want to like.
There's certainly games that are, right? But rarely. Typically, they're telling you a pretty
like linear
solid,
story.
cohesive story, right?
Yeah. So I also because I first wondered, because I was thinking about it earlier, if it was just because of the way that the stories are told, because it is a different medium and like you're being interactive with it. So you kind of do need something to finalize that and like culminate all the skills you learn throughout the game. Meanwhile, with the book, you're not really learning you're learning new information and there's twists in it, but like it's not like a culmination. And I don't know, maybe it's because I don't know
I think that depends on the book though, right? Like,
yeah.
If you've read like A Clockwork Orange, like that book feels like you are learning a new skill, and it does feel like there's a culmination of that skill by the end of the book, which is rare, right? But it does happen. Like you feel as though you've learned a new language with that book.
Is that why anybody who reads that book is all smarmy about it?
I have no idea, but like, you know, it's a bunch of made up slang. It's a bunch of made up future slang, and they never tell you, well, this means that. Like, you learn for yourself.
Like through context.
Right, and by the end of the book, if you read the last chapter of that, you wouldn't understand it having not read the rest of the book.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really sad, but for our listeners that aren't watching on YouTube, The Devil's Aladdin by Aldous Huxley. I absolutely adore Aldous Huxley. His books anyways. I don't know much about him as a person, so he's a terrible person. Please don't tell me. Please tell me. I need to know if I'm speaking well or not of this person. But so like I knew nothing about Catholicism nor French, and like throughout that book they keep using French sayings. They talk about the different like tiers and like papal levels and stuff like that. So like quite often when I was reading that book, like I was having to like Google stuff and like, what the fuck does this mean?
Right.
So I definitely felt like when I finished that book that I had learned new stuff. But like, it's the only thing I can think of that's like actually similar to what you're talking about. Because I've never read Clockwork Orange. I've only watched the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just something that was kind of digging my brain. Wanted to see what y'all thought. If y'all experience the same stuff, like where you feel like, I don't want to say a bigger loss, but I don't know, it just like more of that universe feels less attainable
Yeah.
with books than it does with video games.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's what I went through. Like that's what I was talking about when I finished Persona 5, right? Like I felt like I did feel like I was happy for the time that I'd spent with these characters and engaging with the story, but I did feel like a sense of loss when I finished it because I was like, okay, well now what, right? Because because those characters and that world are very singular, and like and yeah, there was Persona 5, there's Persona 5 Strikers that I can play now, but like even
And
still,
there's also New Game Plus.
yeah, but like even but like that's the thing too, right? Is that like one of the things that I loved was seeing where the story goes, seeing where it's going to where these people are going to end up. And it has a different kind of a feeling to it when I know everything that's going to happen now. And so like I feel like I'm engaged, like so in that way it kind of feels like I'm my relationship with these characters doesn't extend past that like kind of time loop of just reliving those same events with them over and over. And so
With Persona, especially though, right? Like, not all of them, but certainly the last three Personas, you're gonna get more Persona 5 stuff. You know,
yeah.
that expands on those characters outside of just like, you know, fucking P4 Dan or whatever. Like, there's gonna be more stuff than that. Uh, there always
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And like yeah, like I said, like I still have Persona 5 Strikers that I have yet to play because I was telling because when I expressed the sentiment to Kaylee before, she was like, you can always just play Persona 5 Strikers, and I was like, no, I'm saving that for like
Sure.
when I really really miss them, then I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
then I use that to revisit them.
But like, you
Where's
know,
my
they did
boys?
Q. I haven't played Q2, but Q2 I think has characters from 5.
I think
I'm not sure.
yeah, I think I know the game you're talking about, and I
Yeah.
believe that it does. Well, it has there's some Persona.
I mean, Q has
There's
3
some
and 4 characters,
right.
and there is story in those games.
Yeah.
It's not just like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. But you know, and at the same time, like if it's like a
But
small,
it's still not the same though, because it's not that Persona 5 experience.
but like but there are other games too, right? That I don't mind replaying. Like I've told you guys that I've replayed Splinter Cell Conviction many times. And I even though I know where that story goes, I know what happens to all of the characters. It's just like it just like being like doing stuff in that game just feels cool. So I just like being able to do that stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
But
Like for me on the replay thing is like how many things is there to manage? Because
Yeah.
then like if there's more things to manage when I replay, like I said, like every time I've replayed the game, I've had a different goal in mind every
Right.
time I've played it. So I like at least for Fire Emblem, I should say. Well, even other games. Like there's other games that I've definitely replayed a bunch. But but to kind of go on to our topic though, I've been replaying a bunch of Atomi games recently. And I don't know. I've noticed because a lot of them I haven't played in like 5 years or longer, and I noticed the very stark difference in replaying these games and my opinions and thoughts on these characters. And I think a lot of that has to do with me, having like a super healthy, awesome relationship, and like knowing what that is like. But also like obviously like my taste has changed. Like before, I really liked routes that had characters. By the way, all right, sorry. By the way, our topic today is our topic today is what is thoughts on video games as we get older, or the changes that we like in our video game stuff as we've gotten older.
yeah, just kind of just playing video games like the way like how video games for us have changed or altered or how we engage with them or whatever as we've gotten older.
So yeah, so like a lot of times I really wanted the characters that had a lot of like discourse in there because I found it more exciting, like to have the up and down in a story. Not necessarily I saw myself as like the protagonist and I was like, oh, I want to date these people, but I found it more interesting and more intriguing to have something where there's like a really big like catalyst. And now replaying these games, like on all of those, I'm just like, get the fuck over yourself. And all the characters that are like basically a golden retriever turned into a person, I'm just like, I love you. And before, I would just be like, all right, this is kind of boring. It's just like fluff before I go to the next route. It's like, it's cute, it's nice, it's whatever. But now, like, I don't know, I found like a new appreciation for a lot of like Atomi love interests that I didn't really like care about their route before. And now I'm just like, I must protect you at all costs.
Sure.
And it's kind of funny just because, like, I guess I'm finally getting over my teen angst. I guess it's a sign. I don't know. Like, I still like those other routes, and I do like that some of those routes have more depth in their characters and more three-dimension with it. Don't get me wrong, but, like, I'm enjoying... And maybe it's just because I've been so blah lately that I do like the fluff, easy-going mode. But, like, I also think that it's just because I'm older and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want a lot of drama in my relationship. I just want things to be nice.
Right?
I just want things to be nice.
Depth can often be confused with just excitement or, like you said, drama or fluff or whatever, right? Like, you can have, I don't know, like I think about as I get older, not just in video games, but in books, in movies, and all sorts of things, I tend to gravitate more towards like slice of life things than I used to.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
If you asked me 10 years ago if I liked Batman more or Superman more, I would have said Batman.
For sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with gaming and with movies and TV shows and all that, at least for me. And I don't know if that's exactly what you mean, Shanae, but like,
no,
you know,
I think it's a pretty good like assessment. Like Batman versus Superman. Like before, I was really into the Batmans because I found them more intriguing, and I was just like, all right, like this has more of a storyline. The villains are more interesting, whatever. But now I'm just like, give me good old Clark Kent. Let's see how his farm's doing.
And I don't think that's necessarily depth, right? Like excitement doesn't equal depth necessarily, you know. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Even though all three of us like things that are stupidly fantastical and violent, you know, as well.
Yeah.
But
and I think there's something to that though, because I think that and I think this really applies to everything. You know, as you grow older, you accumulate experiences, right? And then those experiences kind of shape, you know, how you perceive, you know, the world around you, how you perceive the art that you consume. And I'm thinking about, like, you know, when I was in my early to mid 20s, like I was kind of like just like you with the Batman. I was like, and I thought Batman was the coolest because it was juxtaposed with the way that I had always been made to see him when I was a kid, you know, like it was very much a like yeah, he was always the caped crusader, right? And he was always like, it was always like a very like kind of like, he wasn't like dark in the way like in the representations I've seen him. It was always kind of like, it was kind of always like very like, you know, middle of the road, right? And then when I got older, when I was in my 20s, I saw all these like I was exposed to more of the like you know, the Dark Knight stuff where he was just like always like angry and like beating the shit out of people like mercilessly all the time. And I was like, man, now Batman's real cool. And like, so I got really into
and
that.
that is cool, you know, but like it's just,
it's like, but it's even stuff like Damian Wayne and like in the more like kind of like newer stuff, or even like the Bat family in general, or the like I always found the juxtaposition of the Joker and Batman being like two sides of the same coin, sort of like theology, like that antagonism, like other story, like so sort of like that. I always thought it had more depth. Yeah. And I think in some capacities it does, because it does flesh out a lot more of the characters. But now I'm just like, let's drop the angst, guys.
Yeah.
Like let's just be okay for 2 seconds, and then the shit can go wrong, and we'll fix it. But like, can we have those 2 seconds where everyone's not a hot fucking mess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know. I think that's what you meant by like the slice of life stuff. Like it's just like,
Well,
yeah,
it's like, okay, so like Kingdom Come, right? Like the best part of Kingdom Come is when it's 3 friends at a restaurant, you know? Like it is. That's the most charming part of that book, you know?
So I was thinking about how like there was a period of time where like whenever I play video games, right? The number one thing that it had to do every time is it had to excite me and like get me hype every time, right? But like, but now like more and more, like I find that I curate my collection in such a way that I was like, okay, I need a certain percentage of my games to be games that just mellow me out, right? And so like I'll go to No Man's Sky to fly around, or like even like lately, you know, I'll get on Red Dead and I'll just like ride my horse around, and I'm just like, this is like really mellowing me out. And it's really, and it feels really nice. Like I'm not shooting at anybody, I'm not fighting anybody. I'm just hanging out, and that feels really good. And that's something that like that really is something that manifested itself in me like over the last few years. And you know, I find that like I need that. Like the more as time goes on, I find that I rely on that more and more.
I'd agree to an extent, but I think it's just we seek out different experiences for that, right? Like I think a lot of people find games like Tetris to be very hectic and stressful, and like that mellows me out, right? You know.
But the pursuit,
I get that, because like everything has its place.
But like the pursuit of that relaxation though is the same, right? The pursuit of like that that feeling is the same.
But I mean, Tetris has been that way for you for a long ass time, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm old.
He's been old.
I've been old for a long time.
Yeah, he's been old for a long time.
You know?
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but I was thinking when we got on camera, I was like, man, Tommy's gray is coming in. He's real salt and pepper.
Yeah, y'all don't want to see the top of my head right now. It's gotten more thin in the last year since this pandemic started. It is. The
hat's probably not helping.
No, it is extreme. No, I've given up on it. But like also, I think that as I've gotten older, one of like I've also find myself resonating more with emotional experiences in games than I did before. Like I think I was like you, Shanae, before where it's just like just okay, I'm over it. I don't want to like all this stuff about you guys talking about like this relationship and these feelings. I don't care. I want to get to the next fight so I can do that, right? But now I get super invested in like what these characters are like what characters are going through, and also how like the ways that they find to relate to one another. Like one of the best parts for me, the best parts of Yakuza, I mean, yes, the fights are great, right? But like the best parts of Yakuza to me are when the guys are just hanging out, talking about being brothers, and
or you're being a pop and taking care of a baby, I guess.
That shit, honestly, like it resonated with me, right? Because I was like, because you see, it's like on one hand you have this character who is like basically like everybody sees him as he's this like scary, really tough dude. But on the other hand, like you see him like he's carrying this baby around and like giving him his bottle and stuff, and it's just like I'm like, man, that's nice. This is nice. You know?
See, I think I'm opposite. Like I think I'm opposite of that, in that like I'm getting so sick of that. You know, like all of our video game protagonists, not all of them, but like 95% of them are like tough dudes with a hard past and a heart of gold. You know, like it's just it's become way too common, you know?
Yeah.
Like the first time you saw Joel, you thought like, oh man, that's such a cool, deep character. And then you saw it in Kratos, and then you saw it in Nathan Drake, and then you saw it in like character after character after character, Booker DeWitt. Like the list goes on.
But to be fair, Kiryu has been like that since 2005. It's a continuation. It's just it's not a recent thing. You know, but you can't just like change the guy. You can't just change the guy.
And I still like a lot of those games, you know.
Yeah.
I just like there's room for other characters
Yeah. Well,
You know?
yeah, and I think that, but like, I think that the thing is that like people kind of there very rarely is any gradients between those 2 points, right? It's usually the badass with the heart of gold, or just the guy who is just always like, he's just always on and he's always kicking ass, and that's just the guy. When I
Right.
very rarely see like any like real like there's usually not any middle ground between those 2 points from what I've seen, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, look at something like Grand Theft Auto 5. None of those characters would I really say has a heart of gold, from what I remember.
No, but like you know what? This is the perfect example of the topic, right? Last night I downloaded Manhunt, which like I used to think Manhunt was so cool,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, the first guy you
See?
killed with a plastic bat.
It's
Oh,
so
that's
fucking
badass,
badass, man.
you know.
Edgy as
And
fuck.
I played it for about 10 minutes, and I was like, no,
That,
no
that, was,
desire.
that happened to
No
me too.
desire,
That happened to me too.
you know?
I was just like, I remember that it was like maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like I did a couple, and I did a couple of those stealth kills, and I was just like, it's too much.
Yeah,
It's
I'm good.
Like, it's too much.
So since I like do more story-driven based games, like for me, it's just like I know how to communicate better now, like with my emotions and my thoughts.
Yeah.
And most of my friends are about my age, some are like, or at least within 5 years of it. And I'm over the bullshit. I just get annoyed. I'm like, oh my God, you're so fucking whiny. Just say that you're insecure and let's move the fuck on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let's move. Let's address the problem and then move on with our lives.
Yeah.
Please and thank you. I have people to kill. You got your shit to do, I guess. Like, I'm done here. And I don't know. Like, I like more. I don't know. I just not. I mean, there's like a small period of time where I played more violent games. But I don't know. I just like as far as my video game habits, a lot of them haven't super changed as far as the genres that I like. But the character archetypes have definitely changed to what I liked before to what I like now. And it's nice because I can replay the stuff that I have without having to buy more stuff. Because I am broke right now.
Yeah.
And it's like replaying it in a whole new experience without, like, even though I know the stories for a lot of these, I have a very shitty memory. It's like a goldfish. So a lot of these games, I generally remember like the overarching thing, but I don't remember like any of the fine details or what moved one plot to the other.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like replaying these games all over again. And because I know generally the story, my anxiety is fine with it because it's like a comfort thing because I know it. But yeah, it's just like the characters that I gravitate to, the storylines that I enjoy are much different from before. Before, I would definitely just be like skimming through, trying to like get to the next part. And now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love
Well, you
you
know
so
what's funny
much.
is like there's still like I'd say still 80% of the games I play are violent as hell.
Yeah.
They're just not presented in that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like earlier today I stabbed fucking Supergirl in the butthole with a Blue Beetle arm, you know?
Hell yeah, man.
But like it's not
Hell yeah.
presented
Not the butthole.
you know? It's just not presented in that way. And not that I really care. Like Mortal Kombat, I'd still have fun playing Mortal Kombat, you know,
Yeah.
but like it's not that Manhunt disgusts me or I think it shouldn't exist or anything like that. Like I'm not above Manhunt.
You
It
kind of
just
feel like
doesn't resonate.
you've outgrown it, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny is like there's a lot of games I look back on that I used to think are like masterpieces, right? We've talked about this recently, and that like games that I thought had depth, right? Like Bioshock or something like that, where it's like now
man,
I'm like, okay, Bioshock, whatever, right? But like I still have that though, right? There
Yeah.
are still games that like I'm up my own ass about,
Sure.
and in 10 years
Yeah.
maybe I'll think they're fucking dumb. You know?
Well, like it's funny because I was just talking
But-
the other day to someone about how I thought I was God, how old was I? I was like maybe 20, 23, and I thought I was a fucking genius because I was like I get BioShock, so I'm just fucking smart guy,
Yeah.
You know, but
I mean,
But like I think that's fine though,
you're not the
right?
only
Like
one that though.
at the time Bioshock came out, games weren't telling that kind of story.
yeah, but
You
I
know?
wasn't a smart guy because
Uh,
I took like the point, the message that I received was opposite the message that the game was giving me.
sure. Sure. But you know, like I'm that way now with games that come out now. I'm still very pretentious about my taste in video games, you know. Uh,
You?
and like,
Nah.
you know, maybe in 10 years I'll think those games are dumb. I kind of doubt it, you know, but who
You
knows?
probably doubted it for Bioshock.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure. I mean,
probably
myself
very
and
confident.
literally millions of other people, you know.
I mean, I still appreciate because you said like there wasn't any other games that were like hitting that mark that was, and I think like I haven't replayed it in a hot ass minute. Um, I don't know if I've ever replayed the first Bioshock. Not the point. The point is though, the first time though, like playing it, I was absolutely blown away, and I think that will like even if I replay it and it doesn't like resonate and I realize like how pretentious is stupid, I don't know. I think that I will always remember that like feeling specifically when you're in one of the, like the hallways and like a whale shark
Sure.
like swims over you and I was just like,
Yeah.
he's fucking great.
Oh, sure. And I know the same thing can be said for like, you know, Metal Gear Solid, right? Like games. I can't think of a game before. I'm sure there is. Someone will point it out, right? But like, I can't think of a game I played before that had like opening movie credits and you know like camera angles that mattered and like you know things like that. The story's fucking dumb as shit, but I still love it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Um, as far as like just physically getting old, like I wear this dumb glove on my hand now when I play first person shooters.
You
Yeah.
you
You
have a
know,
power glove? You have a power glove?
I got hold on. So I got this thing right because I was getting like this big, just my hand was getting torn up.
Yeah.
So I got this thing that's got like
You
a
know what?
ceramic
I bruised my
right
thumb
here.
Yeah.
making IKEA chairs, so I can't talk
Yeah,
shit about nobody.
but
Well,
like I didn't have that problem when I was younger. You know.
and that was really like more that was that was the kind of thing that made me bring this up, because I was thinking about how my inclination has steadily veered more and more toward like kind of like real time competitive games, you know, where like very reflex intensive games, despite the fact that as I grow older, my reflexes continue to slow. And, but like, you know, it's weird because like I was thinking about like, you know, how I'll feel about that stuff like 10 or 20 years from now. If I'll still be able to, or still feel like I'm able to play games like that, even if like despite like my reflexes not being though that like this like near where like someone 30 years younger than me might be, you know what I mean?
I mean, between the arthritis and the osteoporosis, like
Sure.
you're just not gonna be able to play anything, you know.
Yeah.
But no, like I feel you on that. And like I won't say a lot of the games I play are like that, but you know certainly some of them, fighting games, Tetris, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like it's been proven that those kinds of games help you keep those abilities longer. You know.
Yeah.
Also,
So you know.
your I mean, your hand-eye coordination and your dexterity, but also like your mental capacity too, because
Right.
you're problem solving. Similar to the thought process of like doing Sudokus or like logic problems, like
Mm-hmm.
you're making your brain thinking different and keeping those synapses strong in it. I don't know. I haven't. I just hit 30. I'm the baby of the group, so I'm perfect. No. I I will say like I'm quite. I've normally been playing Fire Emblem in handheld mode because I know the story and everything like pretty well. So I'm like watching TV. I've been watching The Nanny a lot. I had to explain.
Ugh.
How do you do that?
I had to explain Fran Drescher,
Friends Drescher.
um, Barbara Streisand, and Rosie Perez to Berto because he had no reference for any of them.
Good for him.
Like how do you watch that show on a continued on like you binge that show
Yeah.
with that voice that she does?
Yeah, it makes my cock hard.
Okay, well,
I'll be right back.
I mean, if that's what you like to watch, look, shit, I'm not gonna dictate how you spend your time. I get it. You like the
You're
show.
Are you policing your own outrage at this?
I just think that like, I don't see how you do it. Cause she's like like that. She's like that's her voice, right? No, that's Ray Romano. Never mind.
I don't know. I feel like wow, Tom's gone. Al Bundy, not Al. Yeah, it's Al Bundy.
Yeah.
Of Married to Children.
Yeah.
I feel like his voice is more annoying than Franz Dresser.
No way. There's no way.
I just no. I'm not down for it.
Did you do the voice? Is that what happened?
She just did an
Yeah,
Al Bundy
that's what
impression
happened.
that was really good. Do it again today.
Nope.
I'll watch it. Don't worry.
I'm gonna get an angry text message from you later, Tom.
I
I
find
don't
myself
know.
playing video games less.
Yeah.
Like, I still as often, but
But-
not for as long.
Sure.
You know, I still play video games probably every day,
Right.
but now it'll be for like half an hour or an hour. You know, instead of 4 hours. You know,
Right.
5 hours.
So then, like, you spend like the rest of the time like reading or watching a movie or something.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot.
Taking care of his children.
No, I don't do that. Fuck those guys. But
Kids are
no, I've been
taking
I've
the
been
children.
reading
I
a lot
did.
more,
They're awful.
you know. And still playing video games, you know, but like not for these long periods of time,
Yeah.
which makes me more selective about the games that I pick up. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would believe that if you looked at the games that I own, but I swear I'm being more selective about the games I buy.
Yeah.
Expansive.
Oh.
Well, like, cause
So,
like
I don't know why.
I looked at I don't really log into Steam very often these days,
Yeah.
but when I do, ever since we started sharing games, I've just like I'm always greeted by this like giant wall of random $3 video games that Tom has come into
Yeah.
possession of.
Yeah.
And I so it on its face it may not look it, but
Well, and there's still times I'll roll the dice, right?
Sure.
Like Vomitorium, I'd heard nothing positive or negative about.
yeah.
It just looked cool.
Fair.
And
Very
how often do you
disappointed.
get a first-person Metroidvania?
Sure.
Not often, you know.
And you know,
I have to say, I'm very
okay.
disappointed by the lack of vomit.
sure.
Yeah. But you know, like it's fine. Or I'll say this, right? If I buy a game that I know I probably won't like, I'll make sure I'm getting it on the cheap. So like right now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I am playing through every Arkham game, right?
Yeah.
That is to include Blackgate and Arkham VR. It was even going to include Arkham Underworld, but you can no longer play that game. Anyways, so Blackgate, nobody likes Blackgate, right? But like, it's still $20 on Steam. I'm like, fuck no! I found a key for $3. You know,
Yeah.
like I try to be a bit more wise with my gaming purchases, but like, you know,
Yeah.
shit still happens.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's been me. Like I was I told Kaylee a few times, like back in like the mid 2000s, every payday, I would go to the game store, like not even like with a particular purchase in mind, right? I would go in, and I was sure I was going to buy something, and it was like it felt weird to leave without having bought anything. Right, so I would always make sure I bought something, and sometimes, but that was back when I was still, basing my purchases on either something I had read in a magazine or whatever was on the back of the box, right?
Yeah.
Or the cover art.
Yeah,
And I still do that. I still like doing that, but like, I'm perfectly fine leaving empty-handed.
Yeah, now I'm at the point
You know?
where like the last, like, I don't remember the last time I was in a GameStop, but the last time I was just like, well, I don't see anything here I want, and I just left, and it just, but that when I was younger, that would not have even been a consideration. Like, I have to get something. So
so I've been going to Target a lot, just because it's one of the closer stores and like house stuff. But yeah, every single time I cannot help but like stop by their games aisles, and I just like keep an eye out on prices, and there's a couple games that I'm like, I want to buy you, but I'm just like, nope. I don't have the money for that. I'm gonna wait for you to go on sale digitally and buy you.
See, and I think that's one way we differ, right? I feel like when I was younger, I was more likely to buy used or wait for a sale, and as I've aged, I'm more likely to pay full price.
Yeah. What do you think has driven that shift
For me?
you?
I feel like
Appreciation for the people creating the games. Before I didn't give a fuck who made my games. Like, it's fun. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to pay it forward. If somebody made something that I really love, I'd like to give them the most money I can for it.
Sure.
And like, sometimes that matters, right? Sometimes it doesn't, right? Like, GameStop buys a certain amount of copies of a game, and they can sell some of those back to an extent. If they go unsold, they can get some of their money back for those, but like,
not all of it.
Not all of it, but like, I don't give a fuck about what GameStop's doing, Like, I'd like to, I don't know, if I buy it, if a new Silent Hill happens to come out, Konami happens to bless me with that, like, I want to show them that I want more of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. Most of these games, since Kingdom Hearts 3, there has not been a game where I'm like, I want to buy that right now.
Yeah. I like that song.
That's a good song. It's a good little jingle.
Yeah.
I want to buy that right now.
Thanks. It's copywritten.
Sure.
Pay me.
Pay me. Well, I do like to pay the people I want to support. So if they keep writing songs like that,
Tom's gonna try to tell you that he wants more of that. So
yeah.
I'll try to speak in jingles as often as possible after today. I'll jot them down. But because I don't really have that drive, and I think some of it's shaped of the fact that like my parents wouldn't really buy me a lot of games I wanted as I was younger, and I would just have to wait for my cousins to get a cool game and then to get done with it, and it was always like later. But like, I totally agree with that point of view, like wanting to support creators. I did that a lot with comic books when I was regularly buying, like writers and artists I really wanted to support. But since I worked at GameStop for 8 years, like across multiple states, like I could just check out games. So
it's same for me. I worked at Hollywood Video in high school. I could check out games, but like,
I didn't really have to buy a lot of them. There's a lot of them I bought that were collector's editions because I wanted all the stuff, and now all of that's broken and gone. But
like this Wonder Woman I just bought, broken already
with the chainsaw ringing.
Well,
but no, I feel like
but now, like, I just wait for digital sales, and I was always but I will say everything I bought. I mean, not that like there was much of an option when I was much younger, but there was a really long time. I think even when we started doing this podcast, I was just like, I'm not buying digital. I like my physical copies. I like it on the shelf, and because I can't be like bothered to go trade in games or like pay attention to that stuff at all.
Don't have the time.
And also because I do really like going back and replaying these games much more than I thought I would. Like sometimes I'm just like, I wish I could trade you in. Like I wish you were off my system. Like
you're ashamed.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't want this to reflect poorly on me, but
That's like when Tom found my Playboy the Mansion save on my Xbox.
I was embarrassed about that.
Yeah, I can't trade it. I can't trade that in. They don't want it.
But yeah, like I think that definitely now, even before the pandemic, I much more like having to buy digital. And I'm gonna be honest, most of it is laziness
Sure.
because I just get super annoyed when I have to go and change the cartridge in the Switch or like the CDs and the PlayStation. I'm just like, that's my life. I have to open a case and like put one in and like all this is
Yeah.
awful.
The CDs.
It's the same. Like the only
What?
reason that I don't buy physical often is I don't want to go to the store. You know, and I want the instant gratification of just pushing the button and downloading the game.
Yeah.
I still see the merits of physical. If
Oh yeah.
you know,
I'm not doing it as often.
ideally I would get everything physically, but like, no, I'm too lazy for all that shit.
Sure.
It's rare. I think the last game I bought physically for myself, not for my kids, was like I bought Ryan and I a copy of Doom 2 like right before COVID hit. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts 3 came out right before COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it came out in January 2020.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you don't have
Honestly, I
any-
don't feel like my gaming habits have changed all that much due to age, anyway. You know,
Sure.
but
your gaming perspective has changed due to age for sure.
yeah, I used to think Borderlands was cool. You know,
Yeah,
Had the opposite
Yeah.
effect. I love Borderlands. Like a
I
matter.
know, and it's
Matter of
so funny.
fact. Matter of fact. I'm really excited for Kaylee, what's that called? Tiny Tina's
I'm really excited for that thing. I don't know what it is.
Tiny Tina's
I
Wonderland.
saw
Tiny
the
Tina's
goldfish
Wonderland.
memory.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Well, it was
Yeah.
Ryan liked Borderlands, then didn't, now does again.
Yeah.
I just liked it and then stopped liking it.
Yeah.
Flip flop, flip flop.
Yeah,
Take a
yeah,
stand,
skip
man.
snap.
You gotta take a stance.
Yeah, don't ever vote for me. You can't believe anything that I say.
It's a sign of intelligent man to change his opinion whenever new information is brought to him.
It's the same information, baby.
It's the same.
It's the same information.
That game hasn't changed.
Well,
Same information, baby.
it's the same. I've been saying baby a lot lately. I don't know where that came from, but I've been saying baby a lot.
That was like, you have been doing it a lot recently, but I think it's the most gratuitous version of it. Just, same information, baby.
Yeah.
I think like I had no morals when I was younger, right? So like,
Hell yeah.
like all of this, like
Tom the
all
Nihilist.
all of the fucking Activision Blizzard stuff and all the David Cage stuff, and like none of that would have ever stopped me from buying a game 10
Sure.
years ago.
Yeah.
You know. Whereas today, like I would really love to play that Diablo 2, but I don't know if I will. You know.
Well, and I think that's a big thing too, right? Because I think a lot of like most people, I think, when they're younger, like the world revolves around them, right? And so there's not a whole lot of mental bandwidth that is used to worry about what's happening
also
with other
don't-
people.
Also, like your brain isn't fully formed until you're like what 25 to 27.
Yeah.
So you also don't fully understand consequences until you get older. So like
I was over 27 10 years ago, Sinead, so. Oh man.
fuck, y'all are old.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
No, you weren't.
I'm about to be 28. Or 28. I'm about to be 38. Yeah.
Man,
September I
Aw.
will be 38.
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be 30.
Yeah,
I'm turning 30. I'm
I-
turning 37 this year, baby.
I think you're only 5 years older than me. I didn't realize that was that
Yeah.
different.
Let me tell you something, Shanae. Once you get to 35,
Oh,
your body begins to shut down immediately. So.
fuck, that's been happening for the
30.
last 5
Yeah.
years.
Really, it's already started for you. It's just, it's gonna hit. It's gonna like you've been accumulating interest,
I pulled my back
and all that
out
interest is
at
gonna hit
23, and I
on
had
your 35th
funerals at
birthday.
21.
Yeah,
I'm old, like
Yeah.
already. Like,
you're doomed. So
Yeah.
well, I always knew I was gonna die young.
yeah,
Also,
get your
I'll make a pretty
Activia
corpse.
and your Metamucils ready.
I will say this as far as getting older, right? I think I'm finally to the point where like I don't understand why young people like certain games.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Like I'm finally there, right? Like I'm like
Like what games?
I don't know, like Minecraft. I liked Minecraft when it first came out, when it was a very different game. And I can still understand why my son and niece can get down with it, but I'm like, really? You're gonna play that for this like 10 hours again? You know, like you know, or like Five Nights.
Oh,
Like
I never got it.
I could see Five Nights being big when like Night Trap was a thing.
Sure.
But now you want to play Five Nights? You know?
Yeah, I never got it. I never got
Among
it.
Us, like I just
Oh my,
none of those.
Oh
games.
my god! Like let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. So I have a lot of friends who stream games, right? And sometimes, okay. So firstly, one time someone like roped me into playing Among Us with them, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And so, but like, what's worse than playing Among Us for me is watching someone else play it. Because, because like you're watching them just do these like deals, and then you just sit there watching them lie to each other over something like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then it's just they just do that in a cycle. I don't get it.
No. I will say the worst thing. I think I talked about it on the podcast before. The worst thing is playing Among Us as somebody who doesn't give a shit about the game with somebody who has played it way too often, and it's like, no, the card swipey thing is a general task. So if that's what you were doing, then all of us would be doing it.
I would immediately just turn my computer off, and I'm done. I'm done. The moment that sentence left their mouth, I would be done.
Like there are these games that are like you know, flash in the pan success for whatever reason. The right person streamed them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And some of them I understand. Like I could see why Getting Over It is a fun game.
Sure.
You know? But like there's certain games that I'm just like, I don't get it. And I think that's my age. I really do, you know.
My age? No, it's not my age. It's just me. I don't get with MOBAs. I don't get with MOBAs. Like I just like.
Man, I want a whole episode of I don't get it.
I don't get it.
MOBAs, right? Like it's not for me, but I understand why people like them. You know?
Yeah.
I understand why people like them. I don't understand the appeal of Five Nights unless you're somebody around our age. You know?
Yeah. Why is it all little kids?
Yeah, and like
because they never watched the Goofy movie, and so animatronic creatures are crazy new for them.
I see.
It's so retro.
Just because of the way the game is played, right? But like, yeah, like Fortnite, totally. I get it. I understand. It's not for me, but I totally understand.
Yeah,
you know, it looks.
Yeah, I get it.
You know,
I don't get the Fortnite dances. It has to do with TikToks.
There's dances that people do.
Yeah, but like
WoW had dances, but like I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, a lot of those dances are from different like hip hop personalities that have created them and that then have been appropriated for that game. So in the context of
WoW or Fortnite or both.
Fortnite. I mean, WoW used Michael Jackson and Chris Farley.
They did a bunch of different like cultures and dances and stuff like that they based it off of. I didn't know that like the Fortnite dances are based off of anything besides TikToks. And I finally downloaded TikToks because I saw a couple Twilight TikToks and I was like, that's pretty funny.
Wait, hold on. Back up, Shanae. Back up. So you're 30, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're out here spending your time looking up Twilight TikToks. What is that?
So, Twilight, the movie, books.
I know what that is. But
vampires.
What are they doing? These are they okay? Are you watching TikToks of people pretending to be Draculas?
You didn't know what a werewolf was.
Oh shit.
Kaylee says that's like those people who are mafia dads on TikTok.
So this I forgot the name of it because there's this guy who like recreates like Twilight scenes, but it's like him and his like costuming
yeah.
is terrible. But he like does like the mannerisms and like vocal patterns of each character really well. And he's like just an odd looking dude. He really like he's got a big head, like he's just like an odd looking dude. So all his like costumes like are half assed. It's just a little odd looking. He's a little
But
like,
you're watching him and you're
concerning.
shitting on this guy.
So it makes it but like
You see, it's like a freak show to her.
Sure.
so like he really leans into this like that he doesn't really look like the characters, but he's so good at like doing the vocal patterns and mannerisms. It fucking kills me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to see more of the stuff this guy does.
Yeah.
So I tried looking him up on YouTube to see like find a compilation of all of his TikToks, and I couldn't find one. So I finally downloaded the app, which like a bunch of people at work have been like begging, like not begging, but have been like bugging me. Bugging is the word I wanted to use. Bugging me to like download TikTok. I'm like, but like the first time I tried TikTok, it was just like thought talk, and there's just like nothing but like thoughts, like and like people dressed as Velma, like doing sexy dances, and I was like, I don't get this. So like, yeah, so I downloaded TikTok again to watch some Twilight TikToks, and I keep forgetting I have it downloaded on my phone.
Sure.
Because I watched those TikToks and I just come across the app and I was like, I really need to delete this because I've never like I saw the Twilight TikToks I wanted to see.
Sure.
I'm done with this.
No, there's I can promise you, Shanae, there are probably literally thousands more Twilight TikToks that I'm sure you will love. But
I bet.
I
haven't found them.
I think you owe that guy an apology for shitting on his craft like that. Because that was really inappropriate. The way you just, some people are out there trying to make art and express themselves in a meaningful way for them. And what you are doing, Shanae, is not only irresponsible, but it is cruel and is disgusting.
Cool bully, so
No more devil horns either. Like, what year is this?
Hey, do y'all have any closing thoughts about games as you age?
As I've gotten older, I realized that Shanae is a cyberbully.
Probably true.
Yeah. Isn't that what you got kicked off of WoW for that one time for cyberbullying?
No, we're not going to go into that on this podcast. I'm not having that recorded.
Cool.
It was being for an edgy teen trying to be funny when I was not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you want to listen to us, we have a YouTube channel. All right, we're on most podcast apps. If you want to watch us, we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
We have some social medias that we don't really update super often because we're terrible and we're old.
Just say the things we're on, Shanae. That's it.
Stitcher, Podomatic, iTunes, Google Play, many more. Bye, guys.